and welcome to a special edition of Super Nerds UK.
Today we're going to be discussing Batman in our Batman special. Our friends Biggs and Tiggs sent over a video question for us to rank our Batman films in order from worst to the best. The ones we're going to use are the ones from Adam West and onwards.
Yep.
We're also in a bit going to discuss the Batman vs Superman trailer that was recently released,
yep,
and the look of Batman and what we're expecting from Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yep.
So let's get started.
Okay.
First one that we're going to put at number 8.
Yeah, we're going to start from the bottom down.
Yeah, down. The bottom up. So we're going to go. So I'm sure everybody would. Well, maybe I might be wrong, but I would assume everybody would know it. Maybe we've spoken about it before.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin.
Yes, Batman and Robin. Now, just to point out before we really get going into this, is that this list could change probably next week if you ask us again.
But this will always be bottom.
Yeah, we've compiled this list from both of our lists and then done the average, and so we'll see how it comes out.
You don't want to listen to 2 countdowns, do you?
No. So there we go. Batman and Robin. We've talked loads about this in previous videos, and I think we all know it's a bit poo.
I can't stand it. I literally can't stand it. It's one of them films where it's not even so bad it's good. It's just so bad it's bad.
It's really hard to watch. So yeah, there's not really much to say about it.
One of the things that people complain about the new Batmans is the bat voice. Not a lot of people like Bale's bat voice. George Clooney doesn't have a bat voice. He's just George Clooney. It's a bit weird. Every Batman film has a distinctive "I'm Batman." That's one of the things that stands out. George Clooney is "Hi Freeze, I'm Batman."
Even Adam West had a good "I'm Batman," didn't he? Yeah, I mean,
but that's what George Clooney does. George Clooney goes, "Hi Freeze, I'm Batman," and that's it. That's simple. Little nod of the neck, and that's it. There's nothing from it. And the worst thing I always hate, and it comes up to it makes me want to cry, is where they've got ice skates in the boots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just in case it gets cold or something, I think we'll just make some boots with ice skates in.
Can you imagine how that conversation went?
Yeah.
Hello Robin.
Yeah.
Today we're going to put ice skates in. It seems a bit nippy outside.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the little committee meeting. Okay, Alfred. Okay, Robin. Here's our discussion on tech we need for this week. We need some boots with ice skates in. Can you just imagine looking at each other going, "What are you on?" You never know.
You never know when you need them ice skates.
We also need very high powered magnets to stick to a rocket, because you never know who's going to have a rocket. Oh dear.
But seriously though, one of the things that does disappoint about this film, and one of the things that really irritates me, is that the story arc of Freeze in the animated series, it was in the 90s animated series, it's a really touching story. It's one of the best animated episodes of a superhero program that you'll ever see. It's the introduction of Freeze, and you see why he does it, and he's given a bit of feeling. He doesn't just crack jokes and like obviously Arnold Schwarzenegger does, and there's chemistry between him and his wife, whose wife he's still got in his little it's like cages, it's keeping it alive in, it's got a frozen.
Like a cryogenic thing.
Right, like a cryogenic thing. And because of Batman and Robin now, we'll probably never ever see that cinematic version of that. Because they'll never put it out, they'll never make the story of Freeze and his wife in a serious Batman film, because they know they'll be put off by people, the audiences will probably be put off.
I'd be surprised if they
Batman
use a Mr. Freeze for a while.
No,
because of that. I think Arnie's killed him.
Yeah, yeah, he has.
Yeah. He's on.
And that's one of the disappointing things, because that would have been a really great story to tell if you used like a John Malkovich maybe.
Yeah,
Freeze.
Interesting.
Somebody like that. So that's the disappointing thing for that.
I think that just before we go to the next one, I think as Batman and Robin goes, it's got some of the worst person to supervillain transitions going. Yeah. I think the worst one has got to be Poison Ivy. The way she turns into Poison Ivy.
Oh, where she just melts into the floor?
She just gets pushed into a load of chemicals And the next thing, she's coming up off the floor and she knows all her powers already. Oh, I can talk to plants. Ooh, look, I can control them. I have weird concoctions of...
See, I hate these superhero things where they change and something will happen to them and the personality will just change straight away for no reason.
Well, she was like a really subdued nerd, wasn't she? And
all of a sudden she becomes this vixen, doesn't she?
Completely opposite
to what she is.
Yeah.
And I know chemicals may do things to your body and stuff
you can understand with it being a comic book thing, you know, they take the liberty a little bit, don't they? Because the way it happens.
See, when
it
happened in Spider-Man 2, when it happened to Dr. Octopus, it was explained why his personality had changed because he was getting controlled by the things in his neck.
Yeah.
I can't understand what is controlling Poison Ivy. What has made her personality change?
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Freeze, becoming Mr. Freeze was probably the most laughable one because he's in a chamber with a vat of this toxic chemical. No guardrail around the catwalk.
Nope.
No. And then this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, probably the most iconic, most action figured person ever. You know, and he stands in front of this tiny console and it goes poof, poof, poof. Like there's a few sparks come out of it, and for Arnie that'd just be like, what's going on there? But now he goes, and then falls straight into the back of the chemicals. It's just like, what? No. And then he just happens to have lots of perfect camera angles for it, which is all taken through CCTV camera footage. Anyway, we digress a bit.
So we move on to Batman Forever now.
Batman Forever being our second one on the list. Seventh, beg your pardon.
Yes, number 7.
Yeah.
It's bad, but it's not as bad as Batman and Robin. It still has a couple of elements that I enjoyed in it.
It's a watchable one.
It's a watchable one. I enjoyed Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Sometimes he was over the top, but I didn't mind him.
Yeah. I wasn't a big fan of Two-Face though.
Two-Face was just a really poor impression of the Joker from the original Batman film, I found.
I thought...
He did a really bad Jack Nicholson impression.
Yeah, I thought he was a bit wasted. Either it was a script or just the way he wants to portray the character, I don't know, but it just seemed very wasted because he's such a great actor. He's played some excellent roles, and I just thought that was just... I think he was just having a party when he did that.
And this is where the humour started getting stupid, wasn't it, in Batman Forever, when it was like... Was it that one when he goes, the car, right? Chicks with the car.
No, but the line.
Was
and he didn't even use that again in Batman and Robin.
No, wasn't it something?
That line.
Was it something like I'll get drive-through? Or was that Batman Forever? Was that Batman Forever?
Yeah, that was Batman and Robin. That was the very opening scene where they're talking to each other.
I'll get drive-through. Yeah, you're going to take the
Alfred
Batmobile.
turns up and says, "Are you going to be back for lunch or something?"
You're going to take the Batmobile to a McDonald's drive-through.
Good luck with that. And the car stands out like a sore thumb. It's the most unstealthy car you can have. All these glowing lights coming out like a disco.
And obviously it was the introduction of Robin.
Yes.
Batman Forever as well. Which
actually, the portray of him becoming the way his parents. I know it's a bit stupid.
I just don't think Robin done in that way belongs in the cinematic universe. So that it's a bit of a strange one. Put him in comics all you want. He's fantastic comics.
You know, I'll probably get killed for this in the comments, but I've never been a big Robin fan. Although I don't really read the comics, so if I read the comics I might feel differently, but when it comes to TV or film, I've never been a big Robin fan. I've just never seen the point.
He's better on page than he is on film.
I'm sure he could come out better on that, but when it comes to film and TV...
The one way the Robin character I would be interested in seeing on screen was the one from the Dark Knight Returns comic, was the Carrie Kelly one.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
I
never liked the costume though. It just looks stupid.
The big red. It's in like this. Well, it's in a big dark world, isn't it? And she's wearing bright red, green, and yellow.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to fit logic. He's supposed to be a stealthy character. I know. I'll just wear this spandex glow in the dark costume.
But there are rumours that Robin's going to get whether he's going to be in it, whether there's going to be a performance of Robin in it, but he's definitely getting a. There's rumours he's going to get a mention somewhere.
Well, if either he's in it, existing as a character, but not actually in it physically, and he might mention him, or they'll introduce him in another film.
I think he's going to have been in it.
Maybe a Batman.
I think he's going to have been there, but he's been killed. and that's why Batman's gone into retirement.
Do you reckon Joker's killed him?
Or something like that.
Yeah, possibly the Suicide Squad.
Which would be a way of, there's a bit of fan service there for the people who like Robin. It's a bit of canon in there as well, because obviously he's been killed in the film, in the comic books before. So you get, fans get what they want, don't they? And I get what I want. I don't have to look at Robin on screen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's fine by me.
So the next one is Batman the movie, starring Adam West and Burt Ward.
Yeah, which is it takes on the classic TV series and puts it into a movie with loads of great jokes.
Yeah.
I love the way it doesn't take itself seriously.
It was Batman and Robin, but it was meant to be like that.
Yeah.
Batman and Robin wasn't meant to be like Batman and Robin turned out. This was meant to be jokey. This was meant to be tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
This was meant to be pow, zap, wham.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it done it really well.
It did. Adam West and was it Burt Ward?
Burt Ward.
It just did it perfectly. The movie.
So Batman the movie, it was meant to be that way, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was meant to be jokey. It was meant to be whap, zam, bop.
I love the way it brings in all the classic villains, you know, played by the actors who play in the TV. You know, it brings them all in, they're all together, joining forces.
Joker's in it, isn't he? Penguin's in it, Catwoman's in it, Riddler's in it.
Riddler. Who was one of my favourites, and the Joker as well.
I love the Riddler.
I just thought, I love the way he did that giggly sort of.
Which I think Jim Carrey in Batman Forever actually
he did
done it quite well.
Yeah,
He's done it quite well.
And then I think Batgirl was in it as well.
Batgirl,
yeah, because she had the bike and everything.
But I'll always remember the scene where trying to get rid of the bomb.
Oh yeah, some days it just can't go. It's just ducks, isn't it? Just ducks in the water.
He doesn't want to hit the ducks, does he? Well, no, it was meant to be fun. It was meant to be jokey, so we allow that one to be the way it to be.
It's become a bit of an iconic classic now, and it's got a good following and stuff, and rightly so. I think it's on Netflix if you ever want to check it out if you've not seen it. It's a good laugh.
So check it out. So that's number 6.
Number 6. And then we start moving into our
stuff we
more
like,
recent stuff now.
Stuff we like.
Yeah, this is getting to the Batman that a lot of people will be more familiar with now. Really.
So number 5 is the Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises, probably a bit controversial for some.
I know a lot of people like it
because a lot of people really like it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie.
I just don't think it's as good as the others.
Yeah. It lost its comic, like you say, its comic appeal to it.
Yeah,
not as in funny comic, but as in comic book.
And for me, the Christopher Nolan films are fantastic. They're fantastic films.
Yeah.
As films come, they're absolutely fantastic films, but they're not great comic book films. So when I go and watch a Batman film, or a Superman film, or Spider-Man film, I want to see a comic book film. Captain America 2, sorry, people will say, it was an espionage, it was a spy film, but you know what, at the heart of it, it was a comic book film. It never moved away from the panels and stuff of the comics. You got the idea that this was a comic book film. The Nolan films for me, they were just crime thrillers, crime thrillers with Batman characters thrown into it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's probably great for the general audience, but for me as a comic book reader, if I want to go there, I want to physically see like the panels of a comic. But I did enjoy the film. I thought it was really good. What I will say though is I don't think I would have thought it was as good if it wasn't for the last 5 minutes. The last 5 minutes of that film are absolutely brilliant, where it wraps up the whole Nolan Batman universe.
It does do it with a nice bow.
I thought it was fantastic the way they just wrapped everything up, with the little nods to Robin.
Yes, I like the way they did that.
I love the little scene with where he's in Italy.
Always in the cafe.
Where he's in the cafe. I love that little scene, especially when you do see him. Spoilers, he does die. When you see him and the Batman music kicks in again when you see him at the table. I just thought it was wrapped up nicely in a bow, and I think if that last 5 minutes of that film weren't there, I don't think it would have been as highly rated.
Do you think if that had ended when the bat exploded?
I think people would have been disappointed, because in general, the good things about the film were, I said the last 5 minutes, I think Christian Bale had gone into a place, this was probably his worst performance as Batman. The Batman voice had got generally worse and worse than the first one. It was just it was getting extreme.
It was getting hard to understand him at some time. It was just kind of.
Tom Hardy's. I love Tom Hardy. I think Tom Hardy's brilliant. I love all the stuff he does. His performance as Bane was good enough for me, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't great, and I don't think that was down to Tom Hardy. That was more down to the characterisation of Bane, I think.
Yeah, I think you could tell in that film where they were struggling with the script, because obviously he had the lull that he wrote Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Well, they had the lull and then concentrated on that for a while. But I mean, you could tell it seemed kind of more up and down in the case the way the film got slow and then.
One thing also about The Dark Knight Rises as well is when I first seen it, I was blown away by it. I loved it.
Yeah.
Another way you get a film that's a grower, whereas you don't really like it, but then it gets better and better the more you watch it. Pretty similar to Age of Ultron. Once I didn't like it, I loved it, but then I watched it a second time again this week, and I thought it was even better again.
Yeah.
Batman, The Dark Knight Rises seems to have the opposite. It was great when I first seen it. I thought it was the best thing in the world, and then after multiple viewings, I'm going. It's good, it's alright.
Yeah, it's more of an effort to watch.
Yeah.
When something's an effort to watch, you think, I really want to get through this scene or something like that. Even though there's really good scenes in it, that's where a film starts to become, when you start to think, oh, what can I watch today? I don't feel like watching that one.
I get fed up. I got fed up during that film of watching Bruce Wayne recover from things. He starts off with a limp.
Yeah.
Starts off with a limp.
That's right, yeah.
Just coming around, he's got a beard.
I don't think he's even in the film for the first 20 minutes or something, is he?
And he just comes in, he's just sort of moping around, and he goes, yeah, I'll be Batman again, gets the magic machine on his leg that makes his leg move fine. Starts smashing walls with his legs and that.
See, he's in the doctors and he's saying like he's seized up, he's never going to walk again or something like that, his legs are going to fall off or something.
And then he's alright, and then he goes and meets up with Bane, and some Bane breaks his back, and then we're stuck for half an hour with him down.
Yeah, an old man manages to fix his back, his spine.
Back for him. So.
Which is, there's something like that in the comics, isn't there? Yeah. I don't know, but I know Bane's supposed to break his back in that, but the way this is done in the movie, just, it pads it out too long.
Yeah.
And the way he climbs out the wall, I thought that was all drawn out a bit long. And you don't even see Batman until, I think it's like 10 minutes of the film. I
think if I was going to do, if they were to remake that film again, you'd forget about the limp. He'd just been retired, he didn't need to recover. Yeah, and what you'd do is you'd have Bane right at the start of the film, injure him right at the start of the film, so that you just see the one recovery. You don't want to see him recover twice, you don't want to see him fight back to be Batman twice. The film is about Batman, it's not about Bruce Wayne with a walking stick or Bruce Wayne lying on his back, because it's both. And I think they forgot the essence of that, and that again is where you talk about this is an okay film, but it's not a comic book film. So that's enough of The Dark Knight Rises.
Right, yeah. So next is
Dark
Knight, which I think again will be a bit controversial because a lot of people really love Dark Knight.
A lot of people say this is like one of the best films ever.
Yeah, and I would probably agree and go, yeah, it is one of the best films.
It's a really good film, but yet again, for me, my personal opinion, really entitled to theirs, it's not a comic book film for me.
Right, and for me, I feel the same way. Even though I don't really read the comics of Batman that much, I do know about the comics and read some, but not all of them. But I do feel the film was more of an intense film and not really, like you say, a comic book film. Great film though. I mean, really superb film.
Fantastic performance from Heath Ledger. Absolutely can't fault that. But what's something I found out through discussion with the likes of Tim and other people is, I've always said that I like Christian Bale. I think he's a great Batman. He's really good. The more I discuss it, I go off Christian Bale as Batman. I just look at it, I think like I said, the voice will forever irritate me every time.
It's the one thing that niggled me.
We were talking before about the suits. You were actually a fan of the suit.
I don't mind it, yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that suit.
I do agree the bat symbol was too subdued though. I think it could have been pronounced just a little bit more to give it that.
And it's just all the armour. I mean, I know he's trying to set it and make it more grounded and more realistic. You don't need all that armour. He's not Batman with all that armour.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, our friends SLI Games, they were talking about the Batman recently in one of their videos, and they were saying like, you know, he's got armour that'll maybe stop a blade or short range weapons, maybe like a baseball bat being hit over his head, but not a bullet. He needs to be agile. He needs to move around quickly, so he'll have something that'll stop that. Not necessarily bullets.
But one of the things that makes Batman so appealing as well is that he's not Superman. He is vulnerable.
Yeah.
He can be killed.
Yeah.
That's one of the. That's why he's seen as such a hero, because he chooses to do this stuff and put his body at risk. Whereas Superman goes out and he's pretty much got no risk unless somebody's got a great big lorry load of kryptonite.
Yeah.
Batman, he's vulnerable and he puts himself out there.
Yeah.
He puts himself in arm's length because of what happened to him with his parents. With all that armour on it, it's like, it's not Batman.
Yeah, you can't make him too invincible. He has to be grounded. He has to be vulnerable, and people can relate to that easier because he's more human. I mean, he's still called a superhero, isn't he? Because he's up there. He's got an amazing intelligence as a detective, a crime fighter.
But that's something else that I never ever got as well from Nolan's films. You never seem to see him using his detective skills and working anything else.
Yeah, I think you do in the first one.
Yeah,
we'll come to that in a minute. But yeah.
He was always described. He wasn't described as a superhero in the first. He was always known as the world's greatest detective.
Yes, exactly, and that's something you kind of missed on. Whereas, like, you take the Arkham games, it's all about detective work, really. I mean, you go around fighting that enemies and stuff, but you're constantly looking for clues. You're constantly looking for ways to track down.
See, Batman was never ever about the tools. He was about using the tools to find out things.
Yeah.
So that was the Dark Knight.
I mean, having said that, sorry to go through it there, but he does do a little bit of crime. The one where he's looking for the bullet.
Yeah, that's
He does cut a bit out the wall, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I need to inspect the scene before your guys
Well, we've had a few
contaminate
more
it.
scenes like that, and you've probably would have seen better.
It goes through it a bit quickly.
Yeah. So it sort of skims over stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, and it shouldn't do, because that's a major part of the Batman character. That's just him being a great detective is just as important as the ears on the cowl and the emblem on the chest, as far as I'm concerned. And it seems to be skimmed over quite a lot. So our next one is Batman Returns.
Yes.
Which was the sequel to Tim Burton's version of the Batman.
So this one, well, yeah.
I like this one a lot.
Sorry.
I like this one a lot. When we discussed this before and we were doing our own lists, this was one of the ones we disagreed on. You had it number 3.
Mine definitely.
Like 3 or 4, didn't you?
Yeah.
This was my favourite Batman film. When I was younger, I was a massive Tim Burton fan. Anything before Planet of the Apes I thought was absolutely fantastic.
I can understand that.
Edward Scissorhands, Batman Begins, Beetlejuice, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
They were all fantastic.
I really like those.
And out of the 2 Batman films that Tim Burton made, this was possibly the most Tim Burton, because it didn't have as much, I don't think, studio influence.
Yeah, this one.
It's as if they said to him,
you
don't fire with the first one, so this one's all you.
Yeah.
It was very monochrome, very black and white like the stuff he does. There wasn't much colour used.
Good balance of humour in it as well.
There was humour in there where there wasn't that much humour in the first one. The only humour that you really got in the first one was the cynical humour that you got from the Joker, wasn't it? But in this one, I thought Danny DeVito's performance as the Penguin was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I loved Michelle Pfeiffer as Selena Kyle and Catwoman. The only thing I disagreed with was when she fell out the window and the cat started chewing on fingers, and I was like,
that again is another one of those
why moments.
Yeah,
it didn't need to do that. So Christopher Walken as Max Schreck was fantastic as well. He's probably one of the as over the top,
a little bit underused, I thought.
As much as over the top and comical he was. I think it fitted into that universe. He was absolutely brilliant in it. And Michael Keaton as Batman. Michael Keaton to me will always be my definitive Batman. I think he gets the blend of Batman and Bruce Wayne the best out of all the other Batman around. I think when you believe him as Bruce Wayne and you believe him as Batman.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Val Kilmer thought he was a good Bruce Wayne, but didn't think he was a good Batman. Christian Bale, I think he was probably a decent Bruce Wayne, but less so Batman. George Clooney wasn't Bruce Wayne and he wasn't Batman.
He was just a guy in a suit.
Yeah, pretending to be Batman.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Michael Keaton.
It was a cosplay. Michael Keaton got the blend brilliant. You got the feeling when he was in the suit. He felt comfortable in the suit. That was when he was being him. When he was standing there and he had the bow tie on and he had the dinner suit on and he was being, I guess he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, you could tell he was uncomfortable being Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And there was always some kind of thoughts going through his head. He was very quiet to himself, subdued, but very confident at the same time in what he knew. And then as Batman, he was kind of the same, but more so confident and more so subdued in that he would play more stealthy. He would make sure that people who knew him wouldn't see him properly. Really well done.
And the other thing as well is, I keep going back to it, the Bat voice. People say Michael Keaton never had a Bat voice. He did have a Bat voice.
Oh,
you watch that film, and it's subtle. It's very subtle because what he does is, rather than change his voice, he just talks in what I would call a loud whisper. The whole time he's talking, and maybe it's not so much a Bat voice. Maybe he's actually being stealthy. Maybe he just doesn't want people to hear him speak, except the people who are around him. But it works. His voice is completely different from when he's Bruce Wayne, and I loved it. The one thing I didn't like about Batman Returns, even though I put this in my number one, is I hated the whole scene where they got his car.
Oh yeah,
and took it over in the Penguins, and I didn't think that needed to be there, because a film that was quite dark and ground and what have you, that just seemed silly to be in there, to be honest.
But it was the way that they took over it as well. I mean, I know they tweaked the car a lot and stuff, but they managed to put this sort of bobbly thing at the bottom.
Bright red and white thing. If you're going to do something like that, it's going to be very small.
It was silly, yeah, but it was that took you right. That took it a bit too far.
But that was probably the stuff I was complaining about before being there. That was made the comic booky, didn't it? Yeah. And I really enjoyed Batman Returns. So Batman Returns, number 3.
Yeah. So next we have, where are we? Batman Begins.
Batman Begins, definitely the best for me.
This was my top one.
But definitely the best for me out of the Nolan films.
Yeah. I just found it as a very definitive Batman film. I love the arc of Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. Yeah. I think the whole story there is really well done. And the voice wasn't too bad, the Batman voice.
Adam got
he didn't even talk that much, no. Batman was just good. And I just thought the casting was fantastic in all of it. And the only thing I would say is the fight scenes were a bit too close up, and they were kind of disguised in the way they were fighting a lot. Obviously the choreographing, they worked a lot on it, but not enough to make it look good on wider angles. So they tended to cheat a little bit by using very close up scenes and shaky cam, so you couldn't really work out what was going on. They did improve on that in the later films. It was much better in the later ones, but that was my gripe with it. But other than that, it's still very enjoyable and very well done.
Well, similar to what I was talking about before, I never went to see Batman Begins on the cinema. Because Batman and Robin had just killed me for Batman. I just thought I can't go and sit through that again.
Yeah.
Right? And then I remember seeing the first image of Batman Begins, and I didn't like the suit. I thought, that's not Batman, that's just a fella in an army. So I didn't actually go and see it. And then it came out on DVD, I watched it. I thought it was okay, I thought it was good, but it reminded me too much of a horror film. So it's not really a Batman comic book film, it's more a horror film. Then I watched it again. And the more I watched it, the more I got into it. And now it's right up there, one of the best ones going. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. Batman Year One, anyone who's read the comic book Batman Year One, there's some scenes taken right out, like the panels come right off the book and go right onto the screen. That's how much you can tell Christopher Nolan has read the comics. I think his brother's
research.
I think his brother's a big comic book fan as well, and so he'll have had his input in that. And that's what I want as a comic book fan. And this is where Christopher Nolan got it right. This was a comic book film.
Yeah.
Out of all three, this one stood out as a comic book film with me. There's images where he's standing on stands on fire exits and stuff like that, and he's standing there in the rain, and
Yeah.
you can imagine
Yeah.
it being in a comic.
Yeah.
And he got it spot on.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't too thrilled about Scarecrow being the villain in it. I thought he was absolutely
Scarecrow was
brilliant.
fantastic. Yeah.
Thought he was Ra's al Ghul.
Yes. Yeah.
Just think it was all done really, really well.
And then you had Michael Caine coming in as Alfred, which I think was still very good.
But I thought that was genius casting.
Yeah.
I think, and you know what? Out of the 3 films he was in them all, he was probably the most consistent.
Yes. Yeah.
He was brilliant in them all. Even in Dark
Yeah.
Knight Rises, he was fantastic. He wasn't in it much, but when he was in it,
Again, a bit underused, I think.
yeah, he was absolutely fantastic in it. And he is what makes, when I was talking about the last 5 minutes in the Batman, in the Dark Knight Rises, he had a pivotal part in that, didn't he? When he's standing there and he's reading the poem. Oh, well, is he reading? No, he's crying, isn't he? Saying, "I let you down" and stuff like that. But it's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Michael Caine, definitely.
I
Caine.
think probably the best Alfred.
Well, the two things that were consistent and probably the best out of the 3 films, probably Michael Caine and Gary Oldman. I thought Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
As Commissioner Gordon, or Captain Gordon as it was in Batman
Well, yeah, you
Begins.
see him get ranked up, which is really good as well. I thought, yeah, you see his arc much more.
So I thought, so Batman Begins.
Yeah. Just before we go to our number 1, your favourite Batmobile?
Batman 1. Batman, Michael Keaton's Batman. As much as the Tumbler, I know a lot of people like the Tumbler, it's not a Batmobile to me, it's a tank.
I would have to say Batman and Robbins. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would actually say the Tumbler.
The Tumbler, I can understand why.
I for my style, I just love the uniqueness of it, where the wheels were inverted. I thought it was a genius idea, and it works as a, again, I agree it looks like a tank, but I just love the way it was used, and I think it's just a genius design. I know Nolan had a lot of say in that because he thought of it first, you know, when he designed it. I thought that was really clever.
No, I do like the Tumbler, and I like the Tumbler, but I prefer the Batmobile. But one of the scenes I do love that was when you first see the Tumbler, it's going across them rooftops.
Yes, yeah.
That's an iconic scene from Batman Begins.
Fantastic. But I do remember seeing the Tim Burton Batmobile for the first time, and when I was a kid watching it, I just thought, that's I want one.
I want one of them.
Yeah, I've actually got a toy one somewhere, but yeah, I just I really loved it.
So that's my first one. So,
great.
Number 1
is, well, you probably know from the list now,
Batman.
Michael
Keaton's Batman. I'm not going to sit here and gush over Michael Keaton as I just did before, because you've already heard me and you'll get bored.
But I think I can probably speak for both of us here. It's probably a nostalgic thing as well, which is probably why it's number 1 for us, because we kind of grew up with that. And also, it's probably the definitive moment for comic book movies when this film came out.
Yeah, because we'd only really had Superman. He was the only.
And Superman was let down because of all the sequels. Well,
from
the three extras, especially Superman 4, that killed it.
And so we were wondering when we were next going to go to superhero film.
Yeah.
And Batman came out. Yeah. There'd been loads of kick-offs because Mr. Mum was going to play Batman. Nobody wanted Michael Keaton when he came out.
For a start, you had a brand new director, Tim Burton. No one knew who he was or what.
He just made Beetlejuice, hadn't he?
It was a good hit, but it was very new to the studios and stuff. So you know, it was a bit of a risk having him. Michael Keaton as Batman, there was a big uproar about that.
I think the one thing that people were looking forward to was seeing Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Yeah, that was the one thing that people agreed with, I think.
Yeah.
But when Michael Keaton was announced, there was an uproar. If the internet wasn't around then, it would have been interesting to see.
It probably would never have happened. They probably would have gone, no, but we can't have this.
But thankfully they stuck with
it. Didn't it make it into the Wall Street Journal as well? Didn't the Wall Street Journal complain about Michael Keaton?
I don't know, I don't recall.
I'm sure I've seen an article somewhere where Wall Street Journal was going, this is ridiculous, why have we got Mr. Mum and Batman?
Oh really? Yeah, because he was into a lot of sitcom stuff back then. Yeah, this was new for him, really, wasn't it?
But like I said, I was a kid then, I never got to see it in the pictures. Wasn't it the first 12?
Yes, it was the first 12 certificate, and
it wasn't a 12A, so you couldn't go with your parents if you were under 12, it was just A12, so you weren't allowed.
12 certificate, and I think either that one or Batman Begins was the first Dolby Digital. No, I think it was Batman. The first Dolby Digital movie. Excuse Dolby Digital. I think I could be wrong on that. It could be Batman Begins. Not Batman Begins. Sorry, Batman Returns. But yeah.
But yeah, I can remember I wasn't allowed to go and see it in the cinema, so I had to wait the whole 12 months. 12 months you could see for
VHS as well.
We had to wait for it to come
and scan.
So I didn't get to see this till 1990. But one thing I can remember seeing was when the trailer got broken on the American network television, and it was all over the place, wasn't it? This is going to be
again. This is before internet, so you probably catch.
You only seen it on the news,
or maybe in the cinema,
or like a magazine show. Well, no, I never got seen the pictures.
Well, if you went to see something else, it was on that. Yeah.
And I just remember, I've got to see it. There was no way I could see it, so I had to wait until like 1990. And when I seen it, I was blown away by it. I think at 1990 I would have been 8.
It was 1989.
Yeah, but I would have seen it in 1990.
Oh, of course, sorry.
And I would have been 8. I was totally blown away when it came out. I was like, this is Batman. I remember my dad sitting there watching it with me. With my dad, and he enjoyed it as well. And it's one of them films I have to go back and I have to keep watching over and over and over again, and it never gets worse. It always gets better and better and better every time we see it.
I think the music was so iconic.
Oh, the theme
I love
tune.
listening to the theme. I love the opening credits scene when it goes around the symbol, like it's sort of a maze, isn't it? And then it comes out. Just everything really like that.
I think that Batman theme is up there with the Superman theme.
Oh, it's definitely
it's
one of the
iconic.
best.
It's absolutely brilliant. Danny Elfman done some of his best work.
Yeah.
I mean, I love a lot of Danny Elfman stuff. I love his themes. I love his stuff for Edward Scissorhands. I love his themes for Beetlejuice. Yeah. But Batman,
the Spider-Man, Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi, he never got better than that Batman.
No.
It's called Batman's March, I think, wasn't it? That's what theme. Because it sounded almost like it was. Soldiers marching.
Yeah.
It was like that. And when I hear that tune, I just get chills. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like I said. So then we went and I watched it and I seen Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and all his comic book goodness and craziness and badness. He was fantastic in it. He made you laugh. He made you scared.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't remember when we were talking about Poison Ivy before and why her personality changed. Jack Nicholson, so it was called Jack Napier, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah.
His character didn't change that much.
Yeah.
Because it
was
kind
of
a bit more subdued.
He was on the edge,
he was on the edge,
that
wasn't he?
pushed him over.
And that pushed him over when he went into it. And there was an explanation for it, you could see it.
And it was kind of a psychotic episode, wasn't it? Because of what happened to him. And Dropping Into a Vat of Chemicals was the classic version, wasn't it? I think
from the Killing Joke, that came from. Which was really, really good. And I think when Tim Burton first met with the studio executives to make Batman, he took the Killing Joke in with him and he said, I want to make this film. And he didn't exactly make this Killing Joke, but when he did, he made that Joker. Yeah. That was the Joker we got the Joker from the Killing Joke.
And it also came with the hero turn, because he couldn't turn his head.
Yeah. But I quite like that.
Yeah. It worked. It made it work.
Yeah, it made him sort of make it look supernatural. It wasn't normal. It wasn't of us. You know what I mean? And that one of the things that stood out. And I still love that old Batmobile.
Oh, it's a classic. Yeah.
Classic Batmobile. Absolutely amazing.
So there we are. That's our list of our Batman films. Bat films. So I suppose you can put in the comments your list. You know, you can add all the ones you want, but yeah. So
tell us, do you look the Nolan ones? Are the Nolan ones the best things? So that'll be totally wrong. Put it in the sections below. But now, not last week, the week before, we're doing this video a bit late.
Yeah.
Not last week, but the week before, the Superman teaser trailer was leaked.
Yeah. It was leaked and then they officially released it.
And then they officially released it.
So we're going to talk a little bit on that. First impressions. Oh, okay.
you go first.
Okay, my first impressions. I actually really liked it, but it's very interesting because you ask more questions than that answers. If you know what I mean, it doesn't answer really that much that we're expecting. So for me, when after seeing Man of Steel, he just obliterated the entire city. Basically, the city's dead. But when you see the opening shot of the trailer, it's of a huge statue that looks like him. Obviously, it's got written on it. Was it not of God or
False God?
False God, sorry, yeah. but you can see images of people around him worship him like a god. He doesn't look like he's enjoying it in the scene where there's people all around him reaching for him, almost in like a Jesus iconic sort of way.
That's been the Jesus thing.
Yeah, that was in the first film.
It's been there in all of them, hasn't it? It was leaving in the Christopher Plummer, wasn't it?
So yeah, so basically the question I want answered is, who are these sort of military looking soldiers who bow down in front of them with the S symbol on their shoulder, and they've got kind of Nazi looking helmets. They look like SAS or SS fighters. So this is something I'd like to see. What kind of persona is Superman taking on? Because obviously he's only been Superman for a short time. You know, like a day.
He's still learning.
Yeah,
he's still learning.
He's killed. Okay, we're gonna have some spoilers here from Man of Steel, but he's killed Zod.
He's destroyed the city.
Destroyed it.
In the process of
not necessarily him destroying it on purpose, but in the fight that he's had, he's been destroyed.
I would imagine hundreds of people, if not thousands, of people have perished and died.
So there's all that going on. So it's interesting to hear where the Batman character is going to come from this. Is he coming in because of something like that? Or is he siding with, like you said before to me before, is he siding with Lex Luthor in some way?
Has Lex Luthor got him involved and he's thinking
I mean, that's if Lex Luthor knows Ben Affleck is Batman or something, I don't know, but that would have to be
that's
something
another question that needs answering, doesn't it? But one feeling I do get from this is, when you're watching it and you see Batman versus Superman, you would assume one of them is going to be portrayed as a baddie, wouldn't you? When you see a Batman
or there's some kind of misunderstanding, definitely.
Batman definitely comes across as the anti-villain anti-hero stroke villain in this, doesn't it?
Yeah, because the fact he says, "Do you bleed?" Yeah, it just really sounds really good.
Yeah,
this is probably going to be one of the best Batman voices. I really am looking forward to seeing.
I'm convinced Ben Affleck is going to knock this out the park.
Yeah.
Absolutely convinced of it.
Yeah, just by that image of him in the trailer,
without the mask on,
just
him. He looks scared. He looks frightened. He looks angry. All them emotions just in one image.
It looks like he's really building up to something.
He doesn't want whatever he's going to do. He doesn't want to do it.
I really love the way they've put this into the trailer because it says 1,000 words, but it's all sort of if, what's, maybes, who, what, and why, and it's like, what's going on here? What's on his mind? You just want to know what's he thinking of right there.
What's he looking at? He's looking at something intensely.
Yeah. Is
he looking at the batsuit? Does he not want to put the batsuit on?
Even though it flicks to the batsuit after that, it looks like he is. Maybe he's talking to Alfred, who he
don't know. He could be looking at something else.
Yeah.
He could be looking at a television screen that's showing Superman's just destroyed the city.
Yeah, it could be showing all this fight going on.
He could be saying, I've got to get this back, I've got to get my suit back, I'm going to go and stop this man. I'm going to stop this alien.
I mean, having said that, when you think back to the Man of Steel movie, the military and the press, because he's part of the Daily Planet, know that he's a good guy. So they can say, you know, he helped stop Zod from destroying the Earth because they were trying to terraform it. So that's something going for him. So that's probably why people started warm to him a bit.
Yeah.
Even though the city's been destroyed, people could blame him for that. In a sense, it is his fault, really, in a way. Or maybe his parents could be sent him to anyway, that's another story. But the fact that that they'll probably portray him as that is that where people start to say, oh, maybe he is a good guy, and that's why they start to worship him a bit because he's someone who flies, he's someone who's got powers. You know, they've never seen anything like this before.
He's a god, isn't he? That's what he is. He's a god.
So yeah, you see him floating in the air in the trailer, and someone's got their hand up. Looks like they're worshipping him or something, or, you know, asking him for help. But I think hopefully, as a Superman, you know, he'll make it obvious to people that he can't do some of the things they want to do, like maybe heal or something like that.
Well, you didn't like the portrayal of Superman, did you, in the Dark Knight Returns, did you? You didn't like it at all, did you?
No.
He was treated as a government stooge. He was almost the bad guy of the piece, wasn't he? Although in a sense,
yeah. But the fact that he was used and the government were using him, like he was just there to be, their boys to clean up the mess. You know, they can't clean up it because they used him in a war as well to fight wars and stuff like that. that's not the Superman I know.
No, exactly. But Zack Snyder, I mean, a lot of this film is saying, people are saying it took a lot of influence from that comic, The Dark Knight Returns. But Zack Snyder has already gone on record to say he didn't like that portrayal of Superman himself anyway. So I don't think we'll be getting that in the film. I think maybe you might get hints to it, you might get might skim over that. But I think we're going to get a different Superman from that. And I'm glad, because as much as I like The Dark Knight Returns, if you're going to make Superman that type of character, that's better further on in the films. This will only be Henry Cavill's second film as Superman, and you don't want to see that in only a second film. Maybe you're looking at maybe a fourth or a fifth or a sixth film. You want to do that, maybe you want to turn his character a little bit. He's not been around long enough to be a government student. The government would not trust him that much.
No, even though he's worked with the military a little bit, they've talked about trusting each other at the end of that film, so hopefully that'll stay through this part. We'll see, I guess.
But like I said, Henry Cavill, as far as I'm concerned, I know people were split on Man of Steel, but I thought he was absolutely brilliant as Superman. Clark Kent, he wasn't Superman to the last half hour of the film, actually.
Just an intense battle.
And Ben Affleck, when he was announced, my first choice, I know people might disagree, my first choice to be Batman was Andrew Lincoln. I thought Andrew Lincoln would make a fantastic Bruce Wayne. I was unsure on Batman, but I thought he would have made a fantastic Bruce Wayne. But when Ben Affleck got announced, I was made up, because I was one of the very few people who liked his portrayal of Daredevil. I know other people didn't like Daredevil. Anything that was wrong with Daredevil had nothing to do with
it was probably Elektra.
Ben Affleck. It was Elektra.
And that fight scene.
Yeah. But Michael Clarke Duncan, don't think he was great as Kingpin either.
No.
I thought Colin Farrell was good as Bullseye. But Daredevil, I thought he was good as Daredevil. Take out that playground scene. And you can see him playing Batman, and even more so, he's evolved as an actor now, hasn't he? If you watch him in The Town, you watch him in Gone Girl, fantastic in both. Same with Argo. I think since he's gone behind the camera, he's become a better actor. Yeah,
I think he's taught himself a lot.
So I'm really waiting to see. I can't wait to see this version of Batman.
So I'll be looking forward to a bit of a longer trailer. Not to give too much away, like say some trailers we know, like Terminator.
Terminator Genesis.
That's probably for another video. So yeah, really looking forward to the movie. It's got a very dark look to it.
As all DC films.
As it has gone with. So it's going to be interesting to see. I hope they don't subdue the colours too much, because it'll just be too hard to notice what's going on with everything.
Especially with Batman wearing black.
Yeah. So yes, this is something that I'm looking forward to seeing. I think when you talk about the Dark Knight Rises Returns, which one is it? The comic book one, sorry.
Dark Knight Returns.
Dark Knight Returns. The Batman character will probably be more like the comic book one.
Well, yeah, I don't think Superman will be like that.
Yeah.
At all.
Okay. So one last thing we want to talk about is the image that was released by the Warner Brothers, which was the image of the Suicide Squad.
Which I was, since it's been announced, I've been looking forward to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go through every character, we're just going to go through the main ones.
Just a couple of ones. We've tweeted this a few times as well. People have given their opinions on it. So
people are very split on Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I really like it. I think it's a good twist. I think it's a grounded version of it. People are saying it's meant to be the Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Girls, because of the websites, because that's the look almost got it, I think. But I like it. I think it's influenced by the New 52 comics. I think it's influenced by the Arkham series of games. They were never going to put it in a Jester outfit.
No, I can understand not putting it in a Jester.
You may see it wearing it at some point for a small scene, but she was never going to spend most of the film in a Jester outfit. I
think you said before to me that it's been announced she's going to have several costume changes.
I think there's about 8 costume changes. I think you mentioned. Which so you'll see all different ones. You'll probably see different colours hair.
But I think really what it comes down to is
how she portrays the character.
How the character is when she's actually acting as the character. I mean, I actually quite like the hair, where it's blue and pink or red on each side. And she looks, the way she's laughing in the picture, she looks like, she looks good. I jested a little bit about the t-shirt, but I mean, I think it's just basically wait and see to see how it's going to look.
I think she'd portray it. I think Margot Robbie, the stuff she's done, she's been good in it.
Yeah.
When she was cast as Harley Quinn, I was made up because
it's
Harley Quinn was one of them characters that I've been wanting to see for years. And although it's not in a Batman film as such, it's in this, so I'm really looking forward to it. Next we'll go on to Will Smith.
Will Smith. This is an interesting one because he's such a well-known actor, and recently as well he's had a bit of bad press because of wanting to get his son into all his movies. And he's done a few real bum movies recently. He's not done too well. So hopefully this might be a re-emergence for him.
I think he needed this. Didn't he?
Yeah.
He needs this to be good.
Yeah, he needs this to work, really.
Because this is a franchise for him as well, isn't he? Because apparently we're not just going to get one Suicide Squad film now. I've heard this. Well, at least I know they signed over 3 films, all of them.
Yeah, well, so, that's kind of standard.
But if it's not going to be one Suicide film, it means they're going to split off. Maybe we'll see a Will Smith heading off against Batman in a Batman solo film.
Yeah, that's quite likely to happen. I think that's definitely. And obviously Harley Quinn's going to go with the Joker.
Yeah.
You know.
So I like the fact that we're going to see Will Smith as a villain. It's something you don't see very often.
Yes, that's going to be very interesting.
Or it'd probably be more described as an anti-hero in this, but one way he's not a nice man, is he, in this film, which is going to become, which hopefully he's going to come across, and then hopefully if he gets to do the solo Batman film, we might get to see that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention Jai Courtney because every time I mention him, I go off on a big rant, but he's in that picture, playing Captain Boomerang. Josh Kinnaman, who's now took over on Rick Flag from Tom Hardy. I was absolutely gutted when Tom Hardy dropped out.
Yeah.
Apparently it's some sort of scheduling clash.
Oh, okay.
He said he's read the script, it's very good. He really liked it, he just couldn't do it because he was filming somewhere else. Josh Kinnaman, who, I don't know whether people have seen it, he was the latest RoboCop.
Which was okay.
It was okay.
It was alright, actually. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
I didn't hate it as much as I thought.
Yeah, it was. If you try and forget about the original RoboCop and enjoy it just as a movie, it's not bad. The ending was a bit poor, I thought, but it's not bad.
The Enchantress, to me, looks nothing like the Enchantress from the comics.
No.
I mean, people are kicking off about Harley Quinn, but I can't understand why nobody's mentioning the Enchantress. She looks like she's just crawled out of the telly on the ring.
Yeah, a little bit. She's a little bit obscured though, so it's kind of hard to really tell how she's going to flesh out. But,
so that's my views on the Suicide Squad. Really looking forward to the film. This image hasn't put me off the film. It's got me more excited. This is what Warner Brothers would have wanted to happen to everybody. Yeah,
I like the way Warner Brothers have been releasing the odd image now and then. It just keeps things going, keeps the momentum.
Keeps it in your mind, doesn't it? It stops you forgetting that it's coming out.
But it's going to be interesting. I'd like them to, like, there's a lot of things Marvel have done which have been spot on, and I think for DC, it's going to be a whole new learning curve for them now. So I like the fact they're not trying to copy Marvel in some ways.
What's going to happen here now with the Suicide Squad is, whatever happens, Batman vs Superman, whether it be good, poor or indifferent, is going to make them ton loads of money. Because Batman vs Superman on screen in the same film, everybody's going to see it. That's going to be a big film. This is going to be the telling thing, I think, for the DC universe.
Yes.
Because if this isn't good, people won't go and see it. Word of mouth will get round and go, what's the Suicide Squad?
This is kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people knew about it, but because the film was so good, it made money, and that's what's helped it, because it actually was a good film.
Really
so this is going to have to be a good film, and it's going to be very interesting to see all these big characters portrayed. It's going to be interesting to see if the script is good enough, if they can really pull it off. I'm kind of hoping they will. I'm a little bit worried in some ways because I really want them to be good, and I want them to make loads of movies.
We want to see this universe, don't we, that we got, that Marvel created. We want that to happen for DC. And one of the things that, apart from Will Smith, who he was sort of down to radar that because of what's been going on, there's no really big massive actors in there.
No,
Jared Leto is the Joker, is probably the biggest actor. Margot Robbie, as good as she is, she's only been there about the last 2 or 3 years, and she's still in her infancy, and she is a big star.
Yeah.
So
this could be a big thing.
There's no one here where you go, I'm going to see that film because such and such is in it. So that's our view on Suicide Squad. We want it to be good, and the image tells us we've got a good chance of it.
Yeah. And I mean, I can understand why people are dubious about things because it doesn't really match the comic book. I mean, I know that one of the people who tweeted us was actually a Harley Quinn cosplay.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really like it. But let's just wait and see. Let's see if it's any good. Let's see if the character herself is actually portrayed well.
And that's our Batman special.
There you go. So yeah, please comment below. Let us know what you think about all that stuff. And thank you very much for watching.
Like our videos. Subscribe to our videos. Like us on Facebook at SuperNerds UK. Follow us on Twitter at SuperNerds UK at SuperNerds_UK. Go over to our website at www.supernerdsuk.com. Watch our videos on there. We're still looking for people who want to get involved. Maybe write blogs for us. Maybe send us some photos over. If you cosplayers yourself, send us some pictures, or we'll get them up there. If you want other people to see it, we'll spread the word. If you think you can make our website better, send us some ideas over, and we'll definitely take them on board.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and we will see you soon.